Welcome to Sick Money, where we discuss all topics related to money. Our first episode is on compound interest and what Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world. In this episode, you'll learn what is compound interest, the importance of compound interest to your retirement, the consequences of time for compound interest. We'll do a quick quiz question and we'll wrap up with some final thoughts. So let's start off, what is compound interest? Now, compound interest is defined as interest on principal plus interest on interest. Now, if you haven't got it just yet, don't worry. As we go through the video, we'll give lots of examples and it will become much clearer. But to calculate compound interest, here is the formula you use. Now let's give a quick example of this. Let's say you invest £100 and you earn 5% a year. After 2 years, what is your total compound interest? This is simply 100 times 1 plus the 5% return to the power of 2 years minus 100, which equals a total compound interest of £10.25. Now, we've gone through that quite quickly. So let's go through another example and do a simple walkthrough. Let's go to this table here and it will become much clearer. So, we're going to assume you invest again £100, but you're going to earn 8% on your principal. So, at the start, you have the £100 invested, you'll get that returned, and then you'll earn interest of principal of 8%. So 8% of 100, which is £8. So you end up with 108. 100 being your original investment, 8 being the compound interest. Now if you move this 108 down here, you have your 100 principal and your 8 interest that you've earned. So let's walk through this. So you get your 100 principal back, you'll earn your 8% of your principal, interest and principal of £8, and then your interest, you'll get that back that you've earned previously, plus you'll earn interest on interest, which is 8% of the 8, which is 64p. So that is interest on principal plus interest on interest. Now we can do the same. We can bring all these numbers here and move them down to year 2 or 3. Again, you're going to get your principal back and you're going to earn your interest and principal of 8%, which is £8. And then here, you're going to earn the interest you've earned, you're going to get it back, plus you're going to interest back as well. So your £8 interest you earned earlier, you're going to get back, and then you're going to earn 8% on that interest, which is 64p, and so forth. So if you bring all these numbers down again, and then we're going to bring them down here, going to do it all again. So your principal you get back, and then you're going to earn your interest on principal of 8%, so 8% of 100 is 8, and then all your interest that you earned previously you're going to get back, and that's also going to earn you interest. So to give a quick example, the £8 of interest you earned earlier, you're going to get that back, and that is going to earn 8%, so 8% of 8 is 64p, and so forth. Hopefully that makes sense, but let's look at the power of compound interest. So if we look here, all these numbers in the chart, as you see, you start off of 100 at the beginning of year 0, then that 100 then earn 8% of compound interest, then next year, 2 year, you have 100 and that earns 17, and then year 3, 100, that earned 26 pounds of compound interest, then 100, and then 36 pounds of compound interest. And all these numbers should relate as you see them in here. But let's roll through this to year 20 here and see the power of compound interest. So there we go. Now, if you look at this, you'll see compound interest grows at an exponential rate. And if you can see here, your original investment of 100, the compound interest is 366. And that is why Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. And that's because compound interest is growing at interest on principal plus interest on interest. And it's a powerful thing working in your favor. Now, let's move to the next topic and say why compounded interest is important to your retirement. Now, we're going to do this through an example. I'm going to take a person called Olivia. Now, she's 18 and she's going to start investing. And she's going to invest £50 a month or £600 a year. And the rate of return is 8%. Now, £50 per month is not a lot. And this can be simply done through looking through your expenses and spending on less frivolous things that can be easily saved, or earning some extra cash through a second job or a side hustle. But you'll see the power of compounding by investing a small amount each month. So let's look at this. So let's turn to she's 19 and she's going to earn £48 on the £600 she initially invested, and then she can add another £600, so she'll have £1,248. Now, a lot of you will say, well, £48 is not a lot, and indeed it's not a lot. But remember, you are building your army of pounds. So, give it time. Now, we're going to move to she's 21, only a couple of years, and she would have put in £2,400, and she's got a compound interest of 300, leaving a pension pot of £2,704. Now, again, the compound interest is very small. It's £304, 11% of the total pension pot. But remember, you're building your army of pounds, and compound interest grows at an exponential rate. So give it time. Now let's move to she turns 30 years old. Yes. So she's now saved in her pension pot £12,897. She's only contributed £7,800, and the compound interest is £5,097. And this is just from investing £50 a month for the last 12 years. So let's move on till she's 35 years old. And this is the magical moment where she's now, her pension pot is 22,470. And the contribution are 10,800. And the compound interest is 11,670, which is 52%, which is over half of her total pension pot. So let's, move on And let's roll through her life. And then let's just say when she's, say, 50 years old. Now, her pension pot, has increased to 87,570. And that's from saving £50 per month. She's only contributed 19,800, but the compound interest is 67,770, which is 77% of her total pension pot value, which is phenomenal. But let's move from 50 to 60. Now her pension pot has grown to 197,750. She's more than doubled her money since she was 50. Can you imagine reallocating £50 per month to investing? It's so fruitful. Now, let's roll till she retires at 68. So she turns 68 and she reallocates just £50 per month over from 18 to 68. Now she's only contributed 30,600, but her pension pot has grown to 372,403, and most of that is a result of compound interest. £341,803, which is 92% of the pension pot value. That's staggering. Now I want you to think to yourself, what if I didn't reallocate £50 per month to investing? Would you make that small sacrifice or earn that little bit extra money for the £372,403 at retirement? That's a lot of money and would make a big difference to many people's lives. I know what I would do. So now we know the power of compounding. Let's look at the next topic, which is the consequences of time for compound interest. And for this, we're going to use an example of 3 friends. They're all the same age. And effectively, the only difference between them is they're going to start investing into their pension pot at a different point in time. So you have 3 friends, Olivia, Tom, and Margaret. Now, Olivia is going to start investing, so saving into a pension pot at 18. Tom's going to delay it to his 30, and Margaret when she's 50. They're all going to put in £100 a month. That's £1,200 a year, and they're all going to get a return of 8%. So let's roll through their lives, and I'm going to roll till Tom puts in his first £1,200 a year or £100 a month. So Tom has put in his first 1,200 here. But if you look already, Olivia has a staggering £25,794 already in her pension pot. And she's already built this army of money, which is growing exponentially, which will become a big impact later on as we see through time. So let's roll through until where Margaret puts in her first £1,200 or £100 a month at 50. So this is the first time Margaret puts in to a pension pot 1,200. Now, if you were Margaret and knew that Tom already had £60,508, I think you'll be quite jealous. But if you were Tom, I think you'll be quite jealous of Olivia having 175,141. Already you can see Olivia's going to have a much better lifestyle than Tom in retirement, and Tom's going to have a much better lifestyle than Margaret. But now let's roll all the way to their retirement at 68. Okay, they've all retired now, and Margaret hasn't done that badly. She's got 50,000, just under 50,000 into her pension pot. And sadly to say this, but there are a number of people in the UK which won't have £50,000 in their retirement saving account at retirement. But you can see you definitely want to be Tom rather than Margaret, who has £286,729 in their pension pot. And everyone will want to be Olivia, who has £744,806. And we can tell from this, Olivia's going to have much better lifestyle than Tom, and Tom's going to have a much better life than Margaret, and Olivia is going to have much better lifestyle than Margaret. Now, a lot of you will look at this and say, well, that's obvious, because Olivia's put 61,200, Tom's only put 46,800, and Margaret's only put 22,800 in. So let's look at that scenario where they all put in contributions of 61,200. I've done the calculations. So they're all contributing 61,200, 61,200, 61,200. Now for Tom, he's going to have to put in 1,569 for the year every year. And that's £131 per month. Not a lot extra. Margaret's going to have to put £3,221 in. That's £268 per month. And that might be slightly detrimental to her lifestyle. But the key thing is this. Olivia's accumulated 744,806 into a pension pot. That's 5.5 times more than Margaret, who's got 133,501. And Olivia's got almost twice the amount of Tom. So, I guess the next question you're thinking, and I'm thinking, is what would it take for Tom and Margaret to achieve a pension pot of 744,806? Let's have a look. So if you look at the graph there, they've all got the pension pot. But if you look at the amount they have to save, Tom is going to have to put in £3,117 a year, or £260 per month. So that might impact his lifestyle. But if you look at Margaret, this is crazy. She's going to put £17,970 in a year. That's nearly £1,500 a month. Now, given the average or median UK salary, that is not going to be possible for many people, and it's going to be very unrealistic, and it's going to be very detrimental to her lifestyle. But let's not dwell on that sad moment. I think if you invested early, if you didn't delay investing and started early, you would have this large pension pot. And remember, though Olivia's been putting £100 a month or £1,200 a year, if your company matches your pension contribution, that would be £2,400 effectively, potentially, and that could be near 1.5 million. So think about just investing a little bit, can make a huge amount of difference. But let's move on now to a quick quiz question. And the quick quiz question is the following. What would you rather, £1 million or £1 on the first chessboard square that is then doubled on each subsequent square. Please leave your answers in the comments below, but let's go through this. So let's start off with the first line of the chessboard. You get your pound here, you double it to £2, then it's to 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. You know, who's going for the million and who's going for, you know, the £1 in the first chessboard square that then doubles on each subsequent square. Doesn't look like much at the moment, but let's move on to the next square. So then you get £256, 512, 1024, 2048, 4096, 8192, 16384, 32768. You know, are you still going for the million, or are you going for the pound and doubling it all the time? But remember, there's still a lot of chess squares to go. So now we're on 65,536. I'm just going to say these rounded. 131,262, 524, and here you've reached over a million. So those who said they'd rather take the £1 in the first chessboard square, that is then doubled on each sub-square, you were correct. But now let's look, for those who said the million, let's look what you could have lost out on. Now it's 2 million, 4 million, 8 million, 16 million, 33 million, 67 million, 134 million, 268 million, 536 million, 1 billion, 2 billion. Wow. And the numbers get bigger and bigger, but I'm not concerned, you can just read them off as I move across. So yeah. There you go. The numbers are getting humongous, and there's still many more squares to go. Oh, let's go from here, probably do that. I think this is the last one, so wow, that here's one number here, that's massive. And now I actually don't know how to pronounce this number, so if you do know how to pronounce it, please leave it in the comments below. So that's the end of the quiz question. Let's wrap this up and then move on to some final thoughts. So, compound interest is a very powerful tool, and you definitely should use this to your advantage. You know, second thing is start investing, saving early, as delaying can be very costly, as we've seen. And it's not too late to start investing or saving. So, you know, people ask, you know, when is the best time to start saving or investing? That was yesterday. When's the next best time? It's today. When's the next best time? It's tomorrow. But the fact is, you should just invest as early as possible you can and start saving, because you can use this compound interest to your advantage. That comes to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and if you found this useful, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.